Hey everybody, and welcome to my take a turn or two of City of the Great Machine. I think that's the best way to learn this game is because there's a lot going on here. There are a variety of plays, solo, cooperative, competitive, and the rule books do have staples in them. So that means they're going to be bigger rule books. But let me tell you, this system is really cool. The theme is spot on. It is late 19th century steampunk era, so you're going to get all that fantastic steampunk artwork. And players are like revolutionaries, and they are trying to fight against the Great Machine after having perfected this wonderful city with technology, and people realize that we don't have heart and we don't have emotions, and that's what we need. So we are fighting to start riots against the Great Machine as the revolutionaries. So I want you to look at the board because these are modules. These little boards right here are floating sections or sectors in this city, and each one of these players, I've got these characters, Viega Vasquez, Sylvia Wu, and Mustafa Azikiwe. They each have access cards. And these access cards take them to all of the different locations, but because the heroes start thwarted, they actually have an access card that's randomly taken out of their deck. And so while players can look at those cards, I'm actually going to flip them over. So we have, Viega is missing the Grand Citadel. Control Nexus came from Sylvia's deck, and we've got the Art District. Mustafa's not allowed to go to the Art District. So that means that they are not going to be able to move so easily throughout this place because, of course, the Great Machine has already stolen some of that access and that information. These characters are going to start off in their locations, as it says on their cards, and then in all of these places are these famous citizens yet to be identified and revealed to help with the riots against the Great Machine. But there are these orange figures, and those are the soldiers. Those are the patrol folks. And they're guarding each of these stations, and they're kind of acting in place of these three figures that move around as the baddies or as the Great Machine. There's the Phantasmer, the Judgmentor, and Lex Hecate. So what this is you could have a one versus many game where you have one player playing the role of the Great Machine. That is going to be a competitive game, essentially. And you have everyone else at the table playing a character. Now, what I've got set up here is the solo game. And the solo is also the cooperative version because you can have many players, or just one player, play against the AI version. And that's what I'm going to show you here because I think it works really well, having played both competitive and played this cooperative version. So everything else here, I'll just explain when we get there. But the goal is to start 3 riots. That's what these folks want to do. That's what you want to do as the hero, as the revolutionary. You want to start 3 riots. And if you can start that 3rd riot, you win. Meanwhile, the baddies want this marker to move all the way around to Doomsday. And they are going to have a lot of clever ways to get that to move. Okay, that's their goal. They want to accelerate this clock, and they want to spend all of our money and all of our investment and all of our plans, and they just want to thwart us. So the really cool thing about this is the heroes have these cards, and it has just the game round, and we're just going to walk through a round. Reveal new city event card. This is the deck of city events, and you can tell it's for solo cooperative because of that little heart symbol. And there are 12, and then the countdown. So we're going to have 12 rounds, and then we know for a fact this last one we flip over, time is not on our side as the heroes. You really want to try to get done before 12. It doesn't mean you can't win after that last card's flipped over, but boy, do you really want to make sure that you are getting there. So you flip over one of these city event cards and you read it because you want to make sure you know what to do and what not to do in the round. It gives you some opportunities, but it also kind of thwarts your plans. So at the end, when we execute the security protocol, which is this top section, one hero is going to have to discard trust. And that's what you see right there with that symbol. That's these guys over here. So they're going to have to discard 2 trust. So if they can do that, they're going to essentially prevent one of these temporary guards to be put out at a random location. So it's a way to kind of keep those patrolmen out of the way. Now, the next thing says that if they collectively discard 2 more trust, they can identify, and in this version of Solo Cooperative, reveal a famous citizen in a random district. That's good. So we want to have a lot of trust at the end of this round. That's going to be really hard to do because trust is how you move and how you do your actions. So we're going to see. Hopefully that's something. And then at the bottom, this is going to be the master plan advancement. And it says it does advance or doesn't advance based on something. Here it says the master plan does not advance if during this round, at least 2 heroes chose an access card to a district where a different hero began the round. Wow, that is going to be so hard because if you look at my characters, I've got Sylvia here and Viega right here. They could swap spaces, but they're also really close to where the baddies are. And I have over here, Mustafa, I don't think he can run all the way over here and spend the right amount of trust to get the trust at the end. So there's a real push and pull here. What do you go for? What do you let go? What do you let advance? Or there's a real conversation you have with fellow players if you're doing that cooperatively. I'm doing it on my own, so I'm going to have to figure out my game plan all on my own. But the first thing is you just reveal the city event cards so you know what's going to be executed at the end of the round. Then the next one, step 2, is every citizen gives you 1 trust, and revealed and active citizens give 2 instead of 1. And traitors give you none. Right now, everyone is just unrevealed. They're just random. So you look in the space and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so she's going to get 4. I've got up here the art district. She's got 4. They're face down right now. So if it's green with a little hat, you don't know who it is. And they're going to be secret until you identify them. And they could be value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or traitors. And we'll talk a little bit more about what those values mean. And then lastly, I got over here in the Velvet District. He is going to receive 4 as well. These are double-sided because in the competitive game where a player plays the Great Machine, there's bonds. And bonds are the way that they actually get things done and pay for stuff the way we have with trust. Because you need trust to activate citizens and to start those riots. Okay, so now that we did that, the next thing is game round access phase. And it says choose an access card and proceed to the Great Machine phase. Now this is really cool because players are going to essentially program where they want to go, but they don't know where these guys are going. And so, there's this really, maybe they're going to go in this direction, maybe they're going to come here, maybe if I stay in the same room, they'll come and get me, or if I run away from them, then they'll find me somehow. It's really, really fun in that player versus player because you have to anticipate what your opponents are going to do. In this game, there's a deck, and this deck is going to be dealt out 1 card telling them what to do randomly. So there's going to be a little bit of that randomness. So what you do is you start off here. I've got them lined up low initiative number 359 because you have to go in this order when you execute your characters. So I'm just going to look at them this way and pick their card. So I need to get her to come to the Science District. I'm going to put them face up. You usually put your cards face down because you don't want the Great Machine to know, but I just think it's going to be fine. We'll be able to remember. So when I execute it, I'll kind of turn it sideways. So she wants Science District, and Sylvia wants to trade places because I really want to get this thing. I don't want this grand master plan to advance because every time it advances, it's going to be closer and closer to Doomsday. That's how you lose. So she wants to come over here and go to the Art District. Is that correct? Good. You know what? Sometimes these character cards randomly get shuffled out and you really, really need that card that you just don't have. So fortunately, these 2 are going to be able to swap to prevent that from happening. And then lastly, I've got Mustafa. He probably wants to stay in the same place because moving costs you 1 trust per guard in the room that you're leaving. And so that's half of his money. And if he stays, he can maybe pay this to prevent more guards from showing up. So he's going to stay in the Velvet District. All right. Now, these cards do come back to your hand unless you are detained, and the card has a possibility of being taken away from you because that's what these folks do, is they can take away your access cards if they grab you. So, that's it. That's the planning phase. You pick your access card, put it face down, and you wait. Because now it is game round, Great Machine phase. Oh, Great Machine. Here we go. Are you ready? So what they're going to do is they're going to flip over one of these cards. I'm going to put them right here, one at a time. So I'm going to have this character go first, Phantasmer, much like these folks have to go in a right order, a correct order. This is the suggested order from the book for these folks to go. So Phantasmer is going to flip over their card, and this symbol means that they are going to go to the central square. Do you see this matching symbol? That's what that card says. So we're going to take Phantasmer. Phantasmer is going to move to the central square, and they're going to execute one action. They have a priority of actions. Repairs all guards. Well, the guards haven't been broken. No one has gone in there and punched them up a little bit, which is what the heroes do. So we move past that one, say, okay, can't repair guards. The next step is takes a district action. This person can take a district action. And the action that they can take, when you turn it over, you see the Great Machine. District action in the central square is the Great Machine advances the progress marker counterclockwise by one stage for every famous citizen minus the number of guards. So I've got 4 minus 2. That is 2. This marker here is their marker. It goes back 2 spaces. Now that matters because once this marker reaches this discontent marker, which we want to go up, we want the discontent to go and affect the 1 folks, the 2 folks, the 3 folks, the 4, and the 5. We want those people to be activated. But once that reaches that marker, this moves forward. And the great plan ticks forward. And again, that's how they win. So that's not good, but that's what they do. Okay, that's the Phantasmer. They're done. And we're going to move on to the Judge Mentor. Ah, Judge Mentor. That symbol says they stay right where they are. They don't move. And they are going to execute an action. So let's take a look. Arrest an active famous citizen. Well, there's only one famous citizen in this space right here, and they're not active and they're not revealed. So they can't arrest them because they're hiding in the shadows. They're like hiding in the alleyway at the Grand Citadel, and they are not seen. Their next thing Judge Mentor is going to do, repair all guards. Can't do that one. They're only doing one action, but we have to go through the list no matter what. And then lastly, take a district action. Okay, Grand Citadel, we'll take a look at what they do in the Grand Citadel. The Great Machine either publishes a directive, if it has one, or draws one, if it doesn't. Well, here's the directive deck. This deck is shuffled at the beginning of the game, and these are things that help the Great Machine be more effective and really, really thwarts the heroes. So, what you do is you take one of these cards, and you just put it in their area. They take one if they don't have one. If they have one, they publish it. And publishing means turn it face up, and it is active until the heroes go and destroy it, which is a huge feat. It's a really important action to take, and they're really, really dangerous. So that was the district action for my Judge Mentor. We move to Lex. Lex turns it over, and oh my gosh, can you believe it? Now, this is part of an added play that you can include in the deck. This is a broken arm machine, and it's brilliant that it showed up on her because it looks like it's one of her arms. But what you can do in this movement deck is you can shuffle in 3 cards that essentially say you lose a turn. And it just means you don't move and you don't take an action. And that makes the game just a little bit easier for the heroes to succeed. And that's one thing that I did add into this deck. Let's see what happens if we give her a non-broken arm. Oops, I got one. Okay, let's have her move. I'm going to put these back up on here because it's more fun when they move, right? All right, so we've got this in here. This means move north. So when you look, oh, cannot move north. And you are going to go clockwise. So she is going to now go this direction. Now, she did, remember, she had a broken arm and she said no go. I know that I've got this figure moving into there, so we're gonna have some trouble. This is how the game works. This is how crazy it can get. So she's gonna move in here, and it doesn't matter that this figure's in here right now. So we're just gonna do her action. She takes a district action in the art district. And when any of these figures for the Great Machine take an action in a minor district, and minor districts are art, you can see that they're red backed, not green backed. So it's art, science, industrial, commerce, and the Velvet District. Those are going to be the minor districts. They will advance the progress marker counterclockwise by 1 space. Again, not good. But that means they're done. They are done with their entire turn. They've done all their actions. They've done their movement if they had any. And now it's going to come back to the heroes. And the heroes move in initiative order to the district specified by their chosen access card, paying 1 trust per guard, exiting each district. So you can always move as far as you want, as long as you have trust for it, or you're willing to roll and risk getting detained, which is really, really dangerous. So at this point, I'm going to move Viega. Viega turns her card over and says, I'm going to the science district. She moves there, and she's going to pay 2 trust for the guards. 1 trust for each guard. She takes her remaining 2 back from her change. And when she's here, she can take an action. Now she can take the action of her card. And this card says, raise the discontent by 1. And this is the discontent meter right here. And if you move it up 1, you see that every stage has 3 steps. And every time you move into another 3 step, those citizens that are hiding out underneath here become activated. If they're revealed and your discontent meter is matching the number or the person is lower than where the discontent is. So let's say the discontent is up here on 3 and you reveal a citizen but they're a 4, they don't actually get to fight in the riot because they aren't discontent enough. So she can raise the discontent by 1, or she can do any of these standard actions, which is revealing a citizen for 1 trust each guard. She can move a citizen. She can attack these guards, making it easier to move through that area and to pay for citizens. Or she can start a riot. She can also just gain trust, which is just getting 1 trust. So if you have nothing to do, you can always just grab 1 trust. But right now she's got some goods. Now I think she probably wants to use those to either reveal someone or to break a guard. Let's have her reveal a citizen. Now, breaking a guard is a little tricky because you have to roll for it, and you might get a really high number, but you have to pay beforehand. And she only has 2 trust, and I'd rather her get a good thing or at least know some information as opposed to risk it and lose it. So she's going to say, I want to reveal this citizen, and she can pick anyone she wants, and it's 1 trust per guard. So she pays her trust, and she is going to reveal, oh man, a 5. This person isn't going to be excited about anything for a really long time, but at least we know that that person maybe isn't going to be part of this riot because they're going to get arrested. I bet they're going to get arrested, which is definitely what these folks over here want to do, is they want to arrest citizens. They've already got 3 over here in detainment, which I can go and break out of jail if I want. As an action, if it says so, but oh my gosh, that's so hard to do. Okay, but that's Viega, and Viega is done. She's done. We're going to turn her card sideways. Sylvia is going to move, as it says here, into the art district. Now, when a player moves and ends their movement in a room with one of the servants of the Great Machine, their turn is over. They are done. They have to stop. And you're going to look at the character's sheet that you went into. So we're not going to look at Judgmentor. We're not going to look at Phantasmer. We're going to look at this. It says detainment. the hero forfeits their access card and finishes their turn. And what that means is that person doesn't get to complete their turn, they don't get to have any actions, they don't get to do anything, and they're going to lose their cards. So we have Sylvia here. She went into the art district, but she was seen. She was nabbed. And so she's going to put this card over here with her other card. These are face down as well, but since we're playing just a solo game, it's okay to keep your cards face up so you can see them. Nobody's there to see anything and reveal any information. But these cards are face down so that the great city, city of the great machine doesn't actually see them if it's played by a real person. So they're done. The thing is, they had to pay to leave. This space had 2 guards, and let's say that Viega had successfully broken one of these guards by rolling. When Sylvia left, she would only be paying 1 for the guard. So that might have been incentive for Viega to actually try to break a guard instead of flipping over a citizen. But those are the kinds of choices that you're faced with in this game, which is really interesting because it adds to your strategy, it adds to your play-by-play tactics. So she had to pay to leave, but she got detained. We read the card, and now she's done. We've got Mustafa now. Mustafa is staying in the Velvet District, and nobody came. Nobody heard any noises. Nobody went into the Velvet District. He's going to be able to do his stuff. He doesn't have to pay to stay where he is, and he has a special action, which is really cool. So his special action says, as an action, you may move 1 famous citizen from a connected district to your district and identify them. This cost no trust. Huge for right now. So he is going to look here, here, and here, because those are the 3 different connected places. And he's going to take one of those citizens, move them into the Velvet District, and turn them over. Because in this game, in the solo cooperative, when you reveal citizens, you also identify them. So revealing means that you are going to turn them to the green side here that says, I know what this is because I looked at it, but I don't want the other player who's playing the City of the Great Machine to know. So in this game, there's no need to keep them face down and on the green. You just turn them over. So let's just grab this folk. I'm going to take this person, and I'm going to move them into here, and he's going to reveal them as a 5. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have found all of the 5s, which maybe means that everything else is better, or there's traitors out there that we don't know about. Oh my gosh, that's so not good. Again, we can only get these folks down here to riot if they're lower numbered. But they're randomly placed out at the beginning of the game. So that was his action, and it cost no trust, which is huge, huge. So now that we're at the end of the round, we take a look at this. Game round, closing phase, city event, security protocol. 1 person discards 2. So we're going to say that Mufasa does it, because he saved all of his trust just for this moment. So he takes 2 back, and that prevents the city from putting out a random soldier or guard. And the way you do that is by flipping over these tiles over here, starting over here in the corner, and you will flip it over and put that person in that room if they fit. If they can't, you move on to the next tile. And once all the tiles have been flipped over for randomness, you turn them all back over, and that's how you get a random choice, which is really, really cool. It works well, but he prevented it. The next thing, the heroes collectively discard 2 more trust. Identify a famous citizen in a random district. They want to do this. So I think what they might do is take 1 from each Sylvia and 1 from Mustafa, because it says collectively. So they do this, and it says identify a famous person. Let's have them identify maybe someone, maybe I shouldn't have pulled the commerce. Maybe someone else in one of the districts that we've already seen, because that might help us figure out if we can actually start a riot there. So let's have her do one from here. And it's a traitor! It's a traitor! Traitors don't have numbers. They just are purple, and they have a bowler hat and a monocle, and they're really, really bad. Traitors work for the Great Machine. They're those sneaky citizens who say they're on your team, and then when you go to ask them for help, they stab you in the gut. Which is scary. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that if the players do not do the security protocol, they're not allowed to do the breakthrough. So this has to be met for players to take advantage of the breakthrough bonus. Now, the last thing you look at is the master plan. So this is the advancement. So during this round, at least 2 heroes chose an access card to a district where a different hero began the round. Yes, these 2 characters switch places. Even though Sylvia lost her security card, her security protocol card, access card, to get to the art district, they did go to the other person's room. So this does not advance to the next step, which again, having an entire step as this clock ticks towards 12 is huge. So that is good. That's done. And that means that we are done. Now, if you're playing with missions, you will do your objective completion at this point. And missions just add that much more requirement for players to start riots. And I don't have missions activated right now. I don't have an example of them. But you do that in step 4 at the end of the round. So this card, actually we're just going to simply go to the top, reveal the new city card. So all you do is say, reveal the new city card. We're going to take these movement cards, place them to the side, put our face down movement cards here, take our cards back. Everyone gets their access cards back in their hand unless for some reason they were taken away. And you're going to get the money for the location where you are. And in this case, we've got Mustafa. He can have $6 max or 6 trust. He's going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, so maybe instead of having Sylvia pay 1 and he paid 2, you look ahead and say, aha, he's actually going to be losing a trust here because every revealed citizen gives you 2 instead of 1. So that was definitely something I would have hopefully seen when I had done it, but I didn't do it. So he's going to essentially lose that trust, which, boy, is that unfortunate. Sylvia, we're going to take a look at her next. She can have up to 8. She's up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. She's going to grab her 4. And then Viega, she's sitting with a revealed citizen, but she's also with a traitor. Traitors give no trust, but they goes 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, she's going to get her 4, and that is essentially that game round opening phase, and we're back to choosing an access card and then executing the servants of the City of the Great Machine. And again, your goal is to start riots, and you start riots by revealing citizens and having more citizens. Doesn't matter about the number as long as they're activated. It's the number versus the number of guards. And if you exceed that number, so I would need 3 successful citizens in the science district to beat these 2, then you can put that riot token out there and be 1 step closer to winning as the hero team. This game is really exciting. I have to say that when I play it on the machine side or I play it on the hero side with just player versus player, it's really intense. And I have to say that when I play with the cooperative and the solo game, I can really focus on the heroes and not be so worried about like outthinking and outthinking an actual person trying to figure me out as a player. But I still feel incredibly challenged and thwarted by these servants and by their movement and by their actions and with the directives that they publish. And so there is loads and loads of challenge here. And of course you have even more challenge with the missions because you're not allowed to just start a riot once you feel like you have a good number here. You have to actually achieve your missions to then get the riot started. And this system of the clock moving forward here in the inner ring with your discontent, which you want to raise to start riots, versus this marker that moves closer and will activate and move forward this, which is the master plan. Oh, it's so, so cool. Theme, knock it out of the park. The characters and their special abilities, which yes, there are more than just these 3, You actually play with 3 no matter how many players are in the game. It's a solo game. I have 3. 2 players, you have 1 each, and you will share or divide this other character up. 3 players, you get 1 person each. But the characters and the other 3 you get to pick from are all so good. This modular system, they have tons of setups in the rules that show you how to do it, or you just set the whole board up yourself. You can move these in the game. So when you go to the control nexus, you're allowed to take these and move them, as long as if you take one out, each board is still connected to 2 other boards, and you take this and you just move it. So you just go boop and you just say, now the industrial district is over there. And that's good for the players, but it's also something that the baddies can do too, to make you really have to rethink your plans, because they might see that you're trying to start a riot somewhere, and they take that space and they just chuck it over somewhere in the boonies and you can't get to it. And so that's a really cool feature. I think that the AI solo works so well. The city events are just like whenever you have a real player. And in the real player game, they use these 3 servants, but they dictate where they go, and they have a set number of bonds that allow them to do actions like move, like do this, which is detain. If they think I'm going to go to a particular room, they might pay to stick a guy in there to like arrest me. It's just really fun. And there is a little bit of risk and luck with these 2 dice. If you can't get out of the rooms going to your destination, which you're forced to go to, you can't change it and you can't half do it. You have to roll for the spaces that you can't get through, and you have to go, oh, I made it. Okay, I have to go to the next room. Oh, I made it. I have 1 more room to get to. Oh, I got detained. Oh no. And you have this, shackles. So there's a 2 out of 6 chance you are going to get detained. So it's really challenging to roll that die. And anytime you want to break a guard, you look at a guard and say, I'm going to pay, let's say I pay 2 of these trust, and you roll the die. And if you see the same number or lower, then you broke them, which I got really lucky because this die has a 2, a 2, a 3, a 3, a 4, and a shield, which means no matter how much you paid, which you always have to pay and get rid of, whether you're successful or not, the shield says you lose no matter how much you paid. So you could say, I'm going to play it safe and pay 4 and roll the shield. So there is just a little bit of luck there, but it's all about that planning and then getting those riots. So I just really think this is a fun game, and I highly recommend all the different styles of play. Plus, there is the escalation, which is an expansion to the game. So this could become your game night favorite, to be honest. It has that potential and possibility depending on your gaming group. And so I just think there's a lot here to really get into. And I think taking a turn with me and just seeing all the cards and the possibilities out here was the best way to explain and describe what happens in City of the Great Machine. So thank you so much for just staying tuned and staying with it, because again, there's something really cool here. All right, everybody, I'll see you later.